Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're gonna take a look at one of the most powerful trinities in Marvel Contest of Champions right now. But before that, a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Lootcakes, so let me tell you a little bit about them. So basically, by using this website, gamers can share the purchasing data from free-to-play games like Marvel Contest of Champions and other free-to-play games on Steam, App Store, Play Store, and you can share this data in exchange for digital gift card rewards by linking your Gmail account where you would get the receipt for these purchases. And if you do this before September 15th by using the link in the description or the pinned comment, you will also be eligible to participate in a $25 gift card giveaway, and Lootcake will pick a winner and also tell me the name. I will be announcing the winner's name on my social medias like the YouTube community section, Twitter, Discord, and yeah, that person will get a $25 gift card. So do definitely make sure to check out the link in the description and the pinned comment. And even if you're free to play, actually there is something that you can do. You can join, and you can actually join my alliance. And the way this works is if anybody in the alliance spends, everybody gets a little bit. So even if you are free to play, you can still join, and yeah, it would be pretty cool. At the moment, unfortunately, this is only available for US citizens, but in the future, like Lootcakes definitely have plans for adding more countries and more people, so do keep an eye out on them. Once again, thanks for Lootcakes for sponsoring this video, and let's get started. Alright, so the trinity that I have been talking about is Stryfe, Apocalypse, and Cable. Now Stryfe and Apocalypse by themselves are also very solid characters, but in this video I'm gonna explain their abilities and also what they get once they all three are paired up together. And we are going to do one labyrinth fight with them all. So basically 3 labyrinth fights in, I'd say, 11 or 12 minutes of gameplay. So the damage output, all 3 characters have pretty amazing damage output, and even though they're all mutants, and ideally like in 5 champion slot you want to bring in characters of different class and stuff, but the utility is pretty different, and they do bring in some crazy damage. Cable, unfortunately, like, he doesn't have too much going for him utility wise, although the regeneration and power gain from the awaken ability in longer fights especially could be nice. But first of all, we are going to talk about Stryfe, and Stryfe built up is a damage machine. He also has a lot of utility to back it up, but here let me tell you what we are basically going to do. We already have 100 persistent charges, we need 20 more, and now we are fully unblockable for the entire duration of fight. It's kind of like Aegon at a max combo, only it is much faster to build. Like, you can get 100 charges in the first fight itself, like Red Hulk in Labyrinth or a thing in Abyss. Like, the first fight, it's enough. You basically need 4 special 3s and the build up is over with Stryfe. And after that you are fully unblockable if you make him a horseman. That is something that if you are not using Apocalypse and making him a horseman, then he will not be unblockable. His damage output, like, just because of the persistent charges, the basic hits are pretty nice, but they are not guaranteed crits. So the majority of his damage actually comes from the special 2. You want to make sure that you have thrown one special 1 and you have the shock on the opponent. The shock itself, it does alright damage, like roughly 1000 per tick, a little bit below that, but the important point is not the damage over time, it's just having it there for the bonus damage on the special attacks. And the SP2, another thing is, like, you need to keep an eye on those red numbers. The first and last hit actually hits pretty hard. Here we are hitting the damage cap when it crits. There I kind of messed it up and then lost my flow because the unblockable was gone. That is something that can happen, but as long as you play well, there's pretty much nothing that can go wrong because you are unblockable. It's very easy to refresh, keep like every medium attack, every heavy attack. It just also the special 2, I believe some part of it, it just refreshes the shock, so it's very hard to lose it. And because you are unblockable, you don't have to intercept, you don't have to wait for any openings. It's just very strong ability to have. As you can see, Stryfe has finished the fight. Next up, we are going to talk about Cable, and he's a pretty simple character with Apocalypse. It doesn't need to be a horseman. He's not a horseman here. Of course, you can only make one character horseman in the particular quest. And I chose Stryfe because I think like if you are going to use this Trinity in something like Labyrinth and Abyss, Stryfe he would probably be your main clearer. Although I do know people who have used Cable like as an Aegon replacement for their best runs, but Stryfe overall I think for longer match fights is better. Although Cable, the good thing about him is the length of the fight doesn't really matter. Stryfe, I'd say in a short, medium fight like a land squad and stuff, is not the best because every single fight, if you want to get unblockable, you do have a little bit of a ramp up, and also on top of that, you do need to use one special one, then go to SP2, which will probably finish everything. But Cable, like he has a lot of damage from the starting. It's not like it's going to go up throughout the fight. Basically just have spam heavy attacks, and you have a lot of regeneration damage. Basic attacks, they don't do that much damage. Special attacks, they don't do that much damage either. I was actually running suicide masteries for the first two fights. I don't recall the first fight because I was building up a Stryfe, and the second fight you are going to see last, that is the Apocalypse fight, which who probably like that is the synergy that you probably don't know that much about, because Cable and Apocalypse synergy, this is very very famous. I think most people who look at YouTube videos about synergies and trinities and stuff would know about the Apocalypse and Cable synergy, and it is very strong. Although once again I will say utility, if you make him a horseman actually, then like he will heal from bleed and stuff, and because he doesn't need to throw his special attacks because they're not very strong, he's actually very very suicide friendly. Like here I'm just holding my power because I gained some power and was pushed to SP3, and I don't really care. It won't do that much damage. We'll have to sit through animation. I do believe at the end we will be throwing it, but again most of his damage it comes from the regeneration. And again, if you actually just look at regen, you might not have a good idea of how much damage he's actually doing. But take a look at Abyss solos that he has. He has one of the highest DPS in the game and one of the strongest damage over time in the game. Now I am going to fast forward this fight a little bit because there's not that much that there is to talk about this guy. I will finish the story of the Suicide Mastery thing. In the first fight with Apocalypse, I did run Suicide Masteries, which was not a great decision because if you know how to play Apocalypse, there is a lot of SP1, SP2 spamming involved. So I took a lot of recoil damage, and then the next fight was Electra, and I went in with Cable and I got absolutely destroyed because, well, Electra, if you are running Suicide Masteries, is a pretty annoying fight because she keeps on turning off your abilities because of the defensive ability reduction ability that she has whenever you have any debuff on you, and the poison from the suicides is permanent. So it was not a great matchup, and even though he is a very suicide friendly character, and Stryfe is also alright with Suicide Masteries, and especially because I made him a horseman, so he wouldn't take the bleed damage anyways, and his special attacks deal so much damage that I don't know, it probably would be fine with Suicide Masteries, but ended up having to take them off because of this Electra fight, which was kind of annoying. But anyways, this fight is over. The final fight, we are going to talk about Apocalypse. So first of all, let me tell you that the synergy with Stryfe is the reason we are going to see, like every single time we throw a special attack, the red numbers will have a huge increase every time, and that's where the Stryfe synergy comes in. It's like 400 up to 400% attack increase or something. It's pretty crazy. Like take a look at the red numbers here, 3000 something. At the end I believe we will be doing 18,000 or 20,000, something crazy, like on those individual hits. So and the SP1 SP2, they have a lot of hits, so the damage output is going to get very very ridiculous very very quickly. But first some build up is required, we through the SP1 we have to make sure we refresh the debuffs by using the heavy attack, but not for that long. Now we are going to use the SP2. It does some decent damage and look at our health. Like for the first I want to say 40-50% of the fight, we had less health than Old Man Logan, even though we weren't getting hit, which was kind of worrying me. But at the end you'll see the damage. Like I have seen him do 30,000 on those individual hits on the SP1. So like if you take him in stuff longer stuff like maybe Labyrinth Starlord, because he has 3.3 million health, and you take off Suicide Masteries, then you can see the full potential of that. But here basically we really want Old Man Logan to throw that SP2, because we don't want the debuffs to fall off. We're gonna go for the heavy attack. Not the best timing, but it works out. And now we want to go for the SP3 to make these buffs permanent, and then we won't have to worry about the like the debuffs falling off, so we won't have to deal with the heavy attack stuff. And we are also actually running the White Magneto pre-fight, because all three characters, they kind of benefit a lot, especially Cable and Apocalypse, from able to parry the opponent, and Labyrinth of Legends has a Limbo node. But anyways, I'm basically just giving the example of Labyrinth Labyrinth, because it has huge health pool and not as big as Abyss, because well, two of the characters can definitely deal with Abyss fights, right? Cable and Stryfe, but it would probably be like a 40-30 minutes video, and nobody wants that. But here, as you can see, the buffs are permanent, and now the SP1 spamming begins. So let's note the red numbers every time, and you will see them increase very quickly. Not much going on in the fight other than that. It's pretty easy fight. Like the only thing worrying me was recoil damage, but other than that, like Apocalypse, he is a very safe option. He has a lot of health. He can definitely take a beating. But here you can see we are 11,000 I think every single tick, and even otherwise the damage over time is doing 1,000 per tick. Pretty similar to Stryfe's shock. I wouldn't say it's a lot of damage, but you have to see that in these slightly longer 4-5 minute fights, if you are doing 1,000 per tick, that's 2,000 damage every single second. That's 60 seconds. So you do the math. In a 4-5 minute fight, there's a decent amount. It's not a like 20-30% or something. It's probably much less than that, but is something. Is definitely not negligible, probably reducing 20-30 hits at the end. And as you can see at this point, take a look, we are at the Old Man Logan is at 36%. We have less health than him, but you are going to see that turn around very quickly. So we're gonna bait another SP2, throw a special one, and let's take a look at those red numbers. I do believe we started with 1,800 on those red numbers, but now it's 16,500. So they go up really quickly, and this is definitely not his max potential. I should not have been running suicide. I don't know why I turned on suicides with Apocalypse and turned it off for the rest of the two characters, who are probably better off with suicide masteries. Kind of weird, but hey, you get the idea. And this is the CCP beta, so who cares about the potions. And I didn't end up using him after this anyways. But as you can see, it's a very strong team, all these characters, and we mostly just talked about the damage in this video. But like these all these characters, they are very solid overall, and if you combine them together, it's a very strong Trinity for sure. But that is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out Lootcakes from the link in the description and the pinned comment. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye bye.